Hello everyone. Today I would like to explain about creating one-to-one relationship between user and profile model and how to customize the default user model in order to use email address to log into the Django admin panel instead of username. So at the end of the video you will be able to know how to customize the default user model, how to create one-to-one relationship, and how to use object manager in order to manage query sets for profile model. So let's start. So first of all we need to install Django, and once we have installed Django we can create a project called Django admin start project. Let's call it Django user profile mapper. Yeah, let's navigate inside the project Django user profile mapper. Yeah, now let's run python 3 manage migrate command, which will create all the relevant models in the database, in SQLite database in this case. And now let's run the server python manage run server. So here you can see our Django application is up and running, and we can navigate to the admin panel. In this admin panel you can see by default Django uses username as a unique field, but we don't want to have that. We want it to use email as a unique field. So to do that we need to customize the default default user model in Django. Let me open the project in my Visual Code Studio. Open folder, get into the project Django tutorials, user mapper, open. Let's assume we are building a simple job portal kind of application where we have different types of profiles for candidates and companies. So one user can have one candidate profile, as well as the other user can have other company profile. So there is one-to-one relationship between user and candidate profile and user and company profile. So let's create an app, Django app called profiles. First of all, let's navigate into the project. Yeah, I'm in the right project Django admin start app. Let's call it profiles. So now we should be able to see profiles object over there, and in settings we need to include profiles in and under install apps. So profiles. Cool. Now if we try to log into the Django admin panel, right, currently we don't have any user created for this application, so we won't be able to log in. We can type anything. Yeah, we won't be able to log in because we haven't created any user for that. So let's create sample user for the admin panel. Python 3 manage create super user. I will name it jk1 @gmail.com. Password is simple password. Yes, I would like to create that. Let's create another user, jk2 @gmail.com. Password is same for this as well. Yes, I'd like to create that anyway. Now if we try to log in using jk1 and my default password. I should be able to log in. Yes, I'm able to log in. Similarly, I should be able to log in with the second username, jk2. Okay, password. So I'm able to log in with both of them. That's nice. So now we want to use email address instead of username. For that, we need to create a custom user object. So we are inside profiles model. For that, we need to import abstract user from Django contrib auth.models import abstract user. Now we need to create class user. You can name it user or custom user, whatever you want to use, but it needs to inherit from abstract user, abstract base user. Now let's create a field called email field models dot email field. We want to make it unique, so we need to say unique equal to true, and if we want we can specify max length, email max length, let's say 150. Now user, we need to use this username field to indicate Django that email should be used as a unique field instead of the username. So because of this line, we can use email as a unique field instead of username. Now we need to specify required fields, required fields. We want username to be unique, but in this case, even though its username is required, internally it will translate into the email field, so email will be required instead of username. Now let me define this string function return self dot email field. Now we need to migrate this. We have errors because we have already run the migrate command. Let's do one thing. Let me delete the existing SQLite database, move to trash and recreate it again. So I will close the server, clear. Now here the console, python 3 manage make migrations. Oh no, python 3 okay, we need to, if we have modified, if we want to use the custom user model, we need to define that inside settings.py of our main application. So what we can do is can specify that with auth user model is equal to profiles.user. Now we should not have problem running migration command. Cool. So we can run migration command and then migrate. Yeah, now it has recreated the whole models once again. Now if we try to run the server, manage.run server, navigate to the web page and admin, now you can see that right now it's an email, not the username. So what was the username? jk+1, no sorry, email address, then the simple password, login, jk+1, oh no, it's not +1, it was jk1 and then my password, jk1@gmail.com, everything is right, maybe password is wrong, login, no, jk2@gmail.com and my default password. What? Something is wrong. Am I inserting the right password? jk1, jk2. Okay, let me create one more user just to make sure that the username and password is right. So python 3 manage create super user. So this time I will create okay, I got, now I understand, because we deleted the old database and it recreated the new one, so we need to create new user. jk1@gmail.com, username jk1, and the simple password 654321. Yes, we want to create that. Let's create second user as well. jk2gmail.com, jk2, and the same password. Yes, I'm going to create, yeah. So now we should be able to log in jk2. Cool. Now we are able to log in into the Django admin panel. So basically we are able to customize the default user model, and now you can add as many fields as you want in this user model. So we have modified the default user model of the Django framework. Now to the second part, how to create one-to-one relationship with this user. For that, let's create a model called candidate profile model, which will inherit from models.model, and user will be a foreign key inside candidate profile model. So user equal to models dot, there is a function called one-to-one field, then we need to specify settings dot auth user model. Now we need to import these settings from Django conf import settings. It's good to use in this way settings.auth user model, so that if there are multiple models which uses auth user model, it's easier just to change it in one place and propagate it everywhere. So now we can create one-to-one relationship, and we can name it related name profiles, not profiles, actually profile, and then on delete models dot cascade. So what this does is, if we want to delete user either from user table or user profile table, it will delete both of them. Now let's add a few more fields into the profile model. Let's say address of this candidate. It can be character field, and max length, let's say 300, and the same candidate can have other field called skills model.char field, and max length can be, let's say 500, not 500, that's too much I guess. Okay, 200. Now we have to define this string, define underscore string, and this function is actually useful in order to see the titles inside Django admin panel. Self return self dot user dot email. So if we want to see this user and candidate profile model into the Django admin, by default it will display this value email field. So let's check if we can see that in the Django admin panel. Currently we don't see that because we haven't registered that into the admin.py file. So from, let's do that, from profiles.models import user and candidate profile model and admin.site.register user and candidate profile model. Now if I refresh the page, I will be able to see that. If we go into no such table candidate profile, oh, I haven't migrated the migration file. So now we need to run python 3 manage make migrations. First of all, let me make sure we have done it in a proper way. User address and skills, okay, that's fine. Now run migration command and run migrate command. Now we should not see this error at all. Yep. Cool. Now let's try to create some candidates directly from the Django admin panel. For JK1, let's say this candidate lives in Munich, skills Django Python. Let's create one more, Django JK2, who lives in Berlin, Angular and JavaScript are the skills. Yeah. Now let me try to run the Python shell and run some queries. So clear this python 3 manage shell. I would like to import profiles dot models, import candidate. Let's import user and candidate profile model. Now candidate profile model dot objects dot, I just want to make sure that our relationship is working properly, user to profile model relationship. So the candidate profile returns a query set with two different items, JK1 and JK2, which is right. And if we want to access profiles using the user model using reverse relationship lookup, we can do that as well. Let's say user dot objects dot get the first user, pk equal to primary key equal to 1. So the first user is JK1. If we want to know candidate profile associated to this user, we can say u is user dot, we need to use the related name profile. See, so in this mapping we have said related name is profile. So because of that we can say u dot profile. So using user model we can also find the profile associated to that user. Basically you can now say profile dot, you can access address field. So address is Munich for user JK1. That's cool. Let me exit the cell. Now let's try to use object manager in order to get candidate profiles whose address or who lives in Berlin. Let's try to implement for that case. For that, what we need to do is we need to assign object manager objct objects is equal to, let's call it candidate profile manager. This is just an example A simple example, we can do lots of things with object manager. Models dot manager, remove it from manager, and let's say we want to create a function called filter by address self. We need to pass address as an argument. Now we can return self dot. So now this self means the whole objects thing. Yeah, the whole objects. It's not a single model but the whole objects. That's why we can say self dot filter address. It has address field, and I will use a lookup field called I contains. If that address contains address, return those candidate profiles. We don't need to migrate because of this. Now we just need to run the cell from profiles. Profiles dot models, import candidate profile profile model. Yeah, let's call it cm equal to candidate. Actually we don't need anything, and variable candidate profile. So we can directly access that function called filter by address, and we can pass in the parameter or the argument, and we can get the candidates who lives in Berlin. See, candidate profile objects, and then filter by address Berlin. So it will execute the function inside object manager, this filter by address. Because of this you can define lots of function or query sets that actually queries the model. You can apply different business logic inside this as well, which is quite useful. You don't need to define all these functions inside the profile model, but the manager will take care of all the complex queries which will happen related to the candidate profile model. Yes, that's all I wanted to explain. I hope this is useful and probably help others to implement this kind of features in their application. If you have any questions, please let me know via the comment, and if you like the video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.